Baseball is quickly becoming a world of haves and have-nots. The likes of the Mets, Dodgers, and Yankees feast on the sport's riches. Meanwhile, countless teams have either lost or are in danger of losing their RSN deals, thus forcing the victims to reduce payroll by tens of millions of dollars. On one end, you have the Cubs-Dodgers Japan series, with tickets reaching $2,000 just to get in the door. Meanwhile, they're all but giving away tickets to the Blue Jays and Marlins openers. You know what I'm gonna say, right? You gotta use SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video, to take full advantage of baseball goodness. With their app, it lets me scour through everything on the market to secure great value anywhere I look. It sorts all tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale. Green means good, red means bad. The app gives me a nice view from where I'll be sitting. Plus, all tickets are verified for authenticity. I'm gonna be honest, more than a few teams could use the code TRADE. It'll help them save $20 off their first purchase. Sorry boys, SeatGeek won't be able to play first base for you this year. We can only go over every team in painful detail. So you have a core that has the potential to compete for a World Series. The riches in your farm system have borne fruit, yet a late season collapse has sown doubt into fans everywhere. You need to overcome the Angelo stereotype any way you can. What do you do to counter it? Settle it on 1 year stopgaps. Just vaguely say to the fans you're targeting improvements and call it a day. Nothing against Ground Chuck, but is 41-year-old Arms gonna replace Corbin Burns? Tomoyuki Sugano could be okay, I guess, but are they trying a Draft to Glory franchise mode or something? Any real improvement will have to come from within, like Felix Bautista being back. The team is Jekyll and Hyde as Adley Rutschman was last year. And that's how a fanbase is furious with what they call Angelos 2.0. No spending limit, huh? Ignore that they drastically increase payroll when you say that, though. Oh, Boston, what is it you truly seek out of life? Do you desire a return to the postseason? Are you held back by FSG's desire to maximize profit? Really waiting for prospect reinforcements to arrive before making a move? A little of all three, perhaps? The Sox went retro with their moves. The last time they brought in an elite pitcher from the White Sox, it was tremendously successful. Gar Crochet cost a ton, but fuck it, they need an ace. Walker Buehler could maintain his World Series form as well. The bullpen, throw a gas can named Aroldis Chapman on it. Alex Bregman's still lingering around free agency, isn't he? Hell, bring him in too to play second base? That's because Devers would straight up ask for a trade if they rip him from third, because his propensity for errors at the position truly justifies it. The Red Sox are a wild card. If everything pans out, a return to October is in order. If not, profit was made. By Trevor Story. The fifth inning lives on in their haters. Getting that close to lording over the baseball world again is a bitter feeling to anyone who experiences it. Instead, they have to deal with younger brother from Queens whipping out his E-penis. As Juan Soto commits the ultimate high-priced betrayal for a family suite, the Pinstripes must respond in kind by spending money on quality talents. Max Fried and Devin Williams added to further solidify a strong pitching core. An increasingly cancerous Marcus Stroman. Hitters that would have been elite in 2020. Paul Goldschmidt and Cody Bellinger still have some value, though. And they are upgrades. It all relies on Aaron Judge staying healthy, returning to right field, but there's talent in these no longer clean-shaven men. Yet this might be all for naught. There's a big problem they need to address. Giancarlo might be out for the year, but it's expected that he'll be forced into the shop at any given point. Remember how we all thought Garrett Cole defied the Tommy John gods last year? Yeah, about that. Yeah. LeMahieu got hurt in solidarity. I'd feel sorry for the Yanks, but I really don't. This franchise should be thanking God above that John Fisher exists. Natural disasters forced them to Tampa, and another one's taking place in real time. We should be discussing the Rays getting a significant chunk of arms, including Shane McClanahan back from injury. We should be wondering if Ha-Sung Kim will be the piece they need to replace Wander Franco at short. It's a team that has postseason potential if health happens to be on their side. Yet we're stuck with off-field drama. As their short-term future is in the Yankees minor league stadium, another stadium deal went the way of the Trop. Ripped to shreds. I'm more shocked St. Pete's mayor actually trusted this shyster to do the right thing. With all this bullshit, it doesn't matter how good the Rays' development and resilience is. Now with the rumors of Orlando, Nashville, Charlotte, Montreal, Utah, and Portland plaguing them every single year. Enough with the lack of elite hitting. Sell the fucking team, Stu. No wonder why baseball wants you out ASAP. It's a year in the 21st century, which means another opportunity for the Blue Jays to relentlessly piss off their fans. If only they finish second in their division as often as they do for most free agent targets. It's a bit of a stretch after last year. I'll give them credit, they at least did things this offseason. Bringing in Andres Jimenez via trade, signing a 30-year-old corner outfielder coming off a career season, a reliever that Baltimore got scared off from during a physical, and a 40-year-old Max Scherzer dealing with a thumb injury. totally worth wasting another year of the core. Oh, you didn't know, did you? Vlad Jr. and Toronto aren't anywhere close to a deal. He's a free agent after this year. You do the math. These guys need to get their shit together and fast. If they fail again, if Bo Bichette has another nightmare year, the nukes might be flying in Rogers Center. Schneider and Atkins will somehow still survive the blast. Take arguably the worst team in baseball history. Now shed significant payroll and get rid of some of the better players on the roster. Name of the game is watching Luis Robert dissipate into the wind in real time as the Great Tank rolls on for the second time in a decade. Surely with a good chunk of deadweight out of the way, it can't get worse than last year, right? Right? Cleveland is such an enigma to me. They'd be legitimate contenders if they bothered to spend more than near minimum rate just to spite themselves. It's a blessing and a curse. Boasting a strong development system yet lacking the desire to fortify that strong youth. Kyle Zardo and Brian Rocchio need a full-time shot, so Josh Naylor's on his way out. Andres Jimenez, too. Who cares when you have Jose Ramirez for time eternal? The Guardians did manage to keep Shane Bieber around on a prove-it deal. Hopefully he recovers fully from Tommy John. That bullpen's probably gonna have to carry things for a bit here. But look yonder. Carlos Santana has returned. Still some gas left in the tank. Cleveland's always that team everyone scoffs at, yet somehow pulls winning seasons out of their ass, and I'm honestly expecting the same thing here. And then they somehow lose to the Yankees in the playoffs and the cycle renews. Magical runs aren't a predictor for future success, but they're damn good stories to tell in the future. Hopefully it won't be a one-off with how they passed on most off-season wins. To be fair, I don't blame them for getting cold feet. There's a gigantic hole at shortstop that reminds them of why. Second base should be filled short-term with Gleyber Torres at least. Plus Jack Flaherty got rewarded for a successful prove-it deal. With another prove-it deal. He'll be a nice addition to that damn good chorus of pitching arms. The key is in the evolution of their hitting core. There are promising pieces there, but they just need an extra bat or two to emerge in order to thrive. Regardless of outcome, there's only one certainty. Spencer Torkelson, last chance, buddy. You already lost first base. Getting out of the endless abyss is one thing. To stay out of it is another entirely. The valiant play of Bobby Witt Jr. and steady veteran presence of Salvi Perez will do all they can to maintain postseason appearances. The main thing is in fortifying the massive spending they did last offseason. Michael Wacha's been extended for 3 years. Good work there. Carlos Estevez is a piece for the bullpen. Royals infield, welcome to India. The reality is that the time is now to make a move. There won't be much in terms of reinforcements coming from the farm. Questions will need answered, but if their arms keep performing like they have, all they really need is for Bobby Witt Jr. to dominate. And then figure out what's going on with the potential new stadium. Hey, if things don't work out, Vinny Pasquantino might have a future as an NFL insider. You have an organization that's been pissing in fear of its own shadow for 18 months. A remarkable collapse with an injury-riddled core and a lapsed RSN deal. This should indicate that serious changes need to be made for sustainability, but that will cost money. Fans are getting next to nothing. Wait, I shouldn't say that. They are getting the Orioles hitting coach. Ignore their collapse in hitting at the end of last year. And for the first time in ages, they finally signed free agents. Danny Colombe, Harrison Bader, and Ty France. They're totally gonna turn the tide and fix their roster's flaws. This is a group that could do something, but that relies on more than a few ifs. Mostly on their big three managing to stay healthy for over half the season and getting more than Bailey over to start games. Oh, would you look at that? Royce Lewis's hamstring is his Abator. Sounds like standard Twins things. The Athletics are the deadbeat rich kid that's been a blight to their family and has pissed away every opportunity given. Burning bridges left and right in the world's worst PR campaign. Like Bruce Wayne without the crime fighting at night. But now shit's getting real. Daddy's threatening to cut him off from the trust fund in a future will. So the prodigal son's gotta do things to keep the spigot flowing. Right after they gave the double bird to Oakland, now they spend money. Great. Luis Severino's the biggest contract they've given out in franchise history. Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker given nice extensions for breakout seasons. John's doing everything he can to not only appease Las Vegas, but baseball itself. Please don't take away my credit card, Dad. I'll get a job, I swear. We'll sell tickets in Sacramento at a $213 average. 8 press box seats. 38 parking spots. You've got at least 3 years of this, Ace. Enjoy your come-to-Jesus moment. We're not seeing the Astros lead off the AL West, isn't it? Hopefully it's not a sign of things to come. Old pieces of the championship core continue to be shed in the quest for financial resetting. Bergman, Presley, Verlander, Tucker, Urquidy, pack your gold-plated bags and get the hell out. Piper's coming to collect his due, and creativity's needed to keep up appearances of competitiveness. Just without Nolan Arenado. But you are getting his Christian Walker at first base. He's good when he's healthy. Isaac Paredes might get out of his cubby funk too. But think of the old guard. Jose Altuve is still kicking ass and taking names. In left field? Really, left field? Sharing time with your Don? Better hope the prospect core and whatever their bullpen's supposed to be is up to snuff. If not, it's gonna be a long year. Do people still believe the Angels can do anything? The greatest achievement as of late is being cucked by their neighbor to the west. The Artie Moreno special is throwing money at veteran free agents while avoiding the pitfalls of the luxury tax. It happened again here. Jorge Soler, Travis d'Arnaud, Kenley Jensen, Yusei Kikuchi for $20 million a year? Decent buys, but are they really gonna do anything? It means nothing if Mike Trout's insane talent keeps breaking down. He's moving to right field to try and maintain his health, which is a shame for baseball fans everywhere. Anthony Rendon is also a great shame to baseball. He's becoming more obscure on the diamond than trying to find Bigfoot. Injured again? How unbelievably shocking. Fuck, even Robert Stevenson's gonna play this year, man. The only thing more shocking is how things can't get much worse for them. Chances of success are around 54%. If there's any hope, it's possibly the best rotation in all of baseball. Now, you'd think they'd supplement those dream arms by doing anything about the inept things they call hitters over there, but that's too logical. Why splurge on quality pieces when you can go dumpster diving at the one-year contract store? The Mariners' cell-phoned RSN's about dead, so gotta cut back on necessities. Even Justin Turner's calling the M's out on this shit. Unless Arozarena and J-Rod go back to what they were, you can't trust Seattle to do anything to complement their pitching. It'll be 2-1 games from here to September. They might sneak into a wildcard spot with 85-90 wins, great. But they could be so much more. If I'm a Mariners fan, I'm bitching up a storm. Or praying they get visited by three spirits. Let's forget last year ever happened. I think their fans would appreciate that. The fortunate thing about hangovers is that they eventually go away. The Rangers have plenty of opportunity to bounce back. The young prospect core still has incredible pedigree. Leiter and Rocker should be getting more looks at the big league level. Leiter can't be as bad as last year, right? Jacob deGrom might pitch more than 5 games this year. There's plenty to be excited for in Arlington. They've even got burgers at the park. If their team's age doesn't rear its ugly head throughout the year, the Rangers should be fine. The 6-man rotation and bullpen put together with duct tape and string will carry them to something. It might even be endlessly blown leads. Pitching questions in Texas, we surely haven't seen that in their history. Atlanta's in a strange spot for their sake. They have their core locked in. There'll be serious competition for postseason contention, but will it be enough to take on the kings of the NL? Like many in baseball, there's been a significant shedding in payroll. Yet they didn't lose a whole lot. That starting rotation should be solid, yet there are questions to ask. So what happens with life without Max Fried? Can Spencer Strider return to his old form? Will the real Sean Murphy please stand up? How will Acuna fare after he's back from injury? And is Jurickson Profar going to keep up the insane pace he hit at last year? Even after the jammed wrist? Mets and Phillies are going to be chomping at the bit to eat them alive. And with how badly they ran out of gas last year, durability will be a concern. Go hire a Shaman or 6 to ward the injury spirits away. Welcome home, Marlins. Blowing it sky high has been a tradition in Miami for many generations. But this Peter Bendix bomb isn't going to be as fruitless as the last nuking. No, it's going to work like it did in '97. Nearly everyone with a dam is gone. And that includes Jake Berger and Jesus Luzardo. Look, they're getting Yuri Perez and Sandy Alcantara back. It'll be enough to watch until they trade Alcantara once he's proven he's back to form. It's a very young team replaying 2018 and 2013 and 2004 and 1998 all in one. A tank to end all tanks. The Astros are paying more in dead money than Miami's paying their active roster. But the Dodgers are the problem, right? They said that 2025 was the year where the Mets would push for a World Series. Even if they come up short in this quest, Daddy Steve can say he successfully won a dick measuring contest with the Yankees. The final cost of such a move? $765 million. Family suite for Juan Soto's a nice consolation prize as well. The Dodgers are spending out the wazoo, and Cohen ain't gonna be one up there. Clay Holmes will go from pinstriped whipping boy to opening day starter. Reliable southpaw Sean Manaea's back in the fold. You were worried about losing the polar bear? His market was ice cold. He's back too. This offseason's been best case scenario for the orange and blue, but that's all it is. Everyone was hyping up their 2023 moves too. Look what happened there. Destroyed by injuries like the ones they've suffered so far. I don't think it's going to be a flameout like that, but you don't win a World Series until November. And script Grimace for another run and go from there. So what the hell do you do if you're Philly? The rotation's still elite. Their bullpen suffered a decent bit of attrition. Their lineup, while strong's getting older by the minute. A bloated payroll for the 2022 All-Star team. A ticking time bomb like Nick Castellanos during a national tragedy. The big fish of free agency were nabbed, but they did secure some reinforcements for another push. Max Kepler for outfield pop and Jesus Luzardo is an intriguing buy low candidate. Maybe Jordan Romano's elbow really isn't grated cheese either. Pressure cooker sealing up tight for these boys. It's gonna make either a delicious roast or burn the whole house down. A lot of big pieces are headed into their mid-30s. Age takes everyone, and it might take the Phillies if they're not careful. They are finally free. The burden has been removed from their necks once and for all. The MASN dispute has been resolved. No such luck on getting out of Strasburg's deal, however. Washington's a very, very young team. One still trying to find their footing after years of circling the post-World Series drain. With a few ringers brought in to aid, the Nats have the chance to make strides if they aren't out gambling at 8 a.m. on game day. This will be the first year that Cruz and Wood get a full look in the show. Brady House should be with them as well. Not to mention the luck that blessed them in the late 2000s is back in form. They won the draft lottery. Ethan Holiday is theirs. It's a lot of ifs, though. And in this division, ifs probably aren't going to be good enough. At least they aren't Miami. It feels like the Cubs are in the rebellious goth phase and get embarrassed by Dad as he takes them into Target. You're disappointed in me for my actions? Well, fuck you. I'm going to Houston to get my wares. I'm not kidding. They looked to the Astros and got Kyle Tucker and Ryan Presley. They do realize Presley was awful last year, right? Cody Bellinger's contract's off the books, but at what cost? Tucker still hasn't been extended, so they paid a premium price for what could be a rental. Meanwhile, above them, Tom Ricketts has been whining about spending, which gets as much sympathy as Harry and Meghan doing their Woe Is Me act. Pricey aging team or not, they're gonna squeeze any talent of this group like Justin Turner's Twilight. Last year was a massive disappointment, and projections love these guys to death. Might be more due to how weak the NL Central looks on paper. Check back in June for a clearer answer. The grand experiment will begin with Tito calling the shots. If Francona can't will any form of consistency out of these players, nobody will. Incredible young talent that needs to be harnessed for the powers of good. But there are reinforcements on the way. Cincy, meet your new second baseman, exiled Dodger Gavin Lux. Hell, Jose Trevino got muscled out of New York. He's your new catcher. Brady Singer's been pretty good in Kansas City, and the Reds desperately need rotation depth due to injury. He'll work too. This is the epitome of a boom or bust team. As enigmatic and mysterious as Ellie De La Cruz on any given day. On the off chance they get everything lined up in order, the rest of the NL Central is doomed. Either this glorious outcome or repeating the same shit as last year. Your call. I'd reckon all of Cincy would prefer if you didn't frustrate the hell out of them again. If you want to feel bad for Milwaukee, don't. They do most of the shit to themselves if we're being honest. Another brutal postseason choke undoing your ambitions? Too little to rectify it. In fact, exile the tipping Devin Williams in the style of Trent Grisham for his faux pas. He was far from the only part that was sentenced to leave. The shakiness of their RSN deals forced an insatiable desire to shed payroll. If they could, they'd find a way to break Reese's and Yelich's legs to get out of those contracts. Instead, the Brew Crew get low-risk veteran adds in Jose Quintana and Nestor Cortez to the rotation. Just avoid Freddie Freeman in the latter scenario. Plus, they're getting Brandon Woodruff back. That's a quality ad, technically. Great bullpen depth or not, it's smelling like the same damn scenario seasons past with these boys. Unless they find a way to assemble hitting depth, they're screwed. Jackson Churio, are you ready to be Superman? You expected the Pirates to do something. That's hilarious. You boast one of the most exciting rotations the league offers. Paul Skeens is one of the best arms in the league already. You have the core of your choice locked up long term. So what do you do to supplement it? Go to the fucking Goodwill. A glaring hole at first base filled with the might of Spencer Horwitz. It's been hurt most of spring training. Random placeholders. Adam Frazier. Tommy Pham. They were good a few years ago. Bullpen's same damn thing. Andrew Heaney's good rotation depth, but he'll probably be traded at the deadline for a pitcher in the Dominican League. Who gives a shit about that when Kutch might be one of your best hitters? We'll keep trotting him out there as fan apathy's at levels not seen in decades. Shitter get off the pot, buckos. You want to rebuild without really calling it a rebuild. Whatever rocks your boat over there, I guess. Goldie's gone and Arenado's stuck in anchor contract limbo. Sorry, buddy, the Dodgers already have a third baseman. It's Houston or nothing. He's still here until time eternal, apparently. The high and bloom era has finally begun with what the Cardinals should have been doing for a little bit. The clone in the NFL can learn a thing or two about that. The team's a mishmash of prospects eager to make a statement and veterans lingering around for continuity. The rotation boasts Sonny Gray and maybe Michaelis and Fetty do something. The bullpen is led by thoughts and prayers. Sometimes the Band-Aid just has to be ripped off. This is St. Louis. Complain all you want, but it's for the best. Nobody in that city was paying to watch this shit. The goal here is to make sure it doesn't come down to game 162. Arizona's problems are pretty obvious to anyone who paid attention. Pitching depth. They have everything else in spades. They can score runs at will. They have fantastic fielding, but the pitching depth? Good lord! It cost them any chance at further postseason glories in 2024. And the rivals are loading up for another crusade, especially those in Dodger blue. A foil to Zach Gallen is of critical importance. I'd say Corbin Burns is a good solution to such a need. With Merrill Kelly returning to health, it should lead to a strong three-man rotation come October. Now, as long as their bullpen fleshes out and the hitting core continues to rake with a fresh Josh Naylor, they may have a chance to go deep again. It'll force them to go to therapy and solve the great dilemma of their time. Jordan Montgomery after being chucked under a bus. He's still here. Maybe he can pay them to make up for the RSN losses.
Oh, magic conch shell, what do we need to do to get out of the kelp forest?
Nothing.
The shell has spoken!
Nothing. We can't just sit here and do nothing.
Unless you've been living under a rock, this was the offseason that pissed off everyone and their mother. Pretty nice to build a dream team when your farm system's all of East Asia. They heard all the Mickey Mouse ring jokes and took it personally when they won a real one. Nearly every major free agent is now in LA. We're all fucked. Remember, kids, the Dodgers aren't the problem. A good chunk of the league is for not spending jack and shit. Anything less than another championship will be mocked to hell and back. Have fun, baseball. Congratulations, you lost out on another top prize in Roki Sasaki to hated brother up north. I'd say that's the worst thing that's happened to you this offseason, but the squabble over Peter Seidler's unfulfilled ambition has all but thrown the Padres astray. After being left in the cold by their prize, their only offseason acquisition of note was Nick Pivetta. That didn't happen until February. It's the cold reality of life in San Diego. They might have squandered their best shots to win. With Peters passing and the Dodgers on a warpath, the only way for them to succeed is for Jackson Merrill to become their version of Juan Soto. Their core is still intact, but the Bogarts deal had buyer's remorse on it since day one, and Yu Darvish is 38. Rumors about guys like Arise and Cease swirl on every corner. They're stuck, and I don't envy the Padres. It's obvious they're a good team, but are they good enough? San Francisco is caught up in a maelstrom of quandaries. They desire everything in their power to win, but are stuck in a division with the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, and Padres. Those three are going to outshine them if only because of their profile. Trying to add luxury items to a suspiciously shaky foundation. Finally not being spurned at the altar by a big free agent. Presenting Willie Adames. Hopefully filling the gaping Brandon Crawford hole at short. They may have lost Blake Snell to the fucking Dodgers, but the Giants got the next best thing. Verlander! He's a shell of himself at 42, but he can still throw a ball. Might have been injured to hell last year, but he's got better durability than Jung-Hoo Lee at least. Yes, this team is in the middle of an identity crisis. Thanks for that, Farhan. From the outside looking in, San Fran reeks of mid-tier goodness clinging onto the playoff ledge. Pray they hold on. Baseball, what do you have in store for us this go-around? A long grind's always tough to predict, and I feel the AL's very hard to gauge in 2025. The AL East I'm gonna give to the Orioles, but that may be more because of Garrett Cole's injury. It'll be pretty close there. The AL Central? Flip a coin. 4 teams have an equal chance of winning it, but I'm choosing Kansas City due to upside. The AL West is a choice between a few teams, and I feel the Rangers are the best chance to bounce back of the bunch. For wildcards, the choices for me are the Yankees, Red Sox, and Mariners. So many honorable mentions to consider, though. The NL is much clearer. The Mets take the NL East with some resistance from Braves and Phillies. The NL Central's the wildcard, but I think the Cubs take it with their upgrades. Do I even have to go over it? The wildcards are going to be the Diamondbacks, Braves, and Phillies. San Diego also has a legit chance at the final spot. Too many variables to come to a consensus. But the season's about to begin. Let's play some ball.
There's an absolute take! Right center field! It is off the wall! To second goes Ohtani. To home goes Ohtani. It was a home run! And the question is, without the fans, would have it been a home run?
After review, they're calling the field stands. Home run.